Hello everyone, welcome back to Allcarnews, and you join us again with the all-new 2025 Nissan Kicks. We had a really awesome first look at this vehicle in Brooklyn almost last year at the New York Auto Show when it was unveiled, and now we are finally able to have it here for a one-week test review over on Allcarnews. And now we're finally being able to live with this all-new Kicks with its all-new engine, larger dimensions, really bold new styling, and a surprisingly technology-filled interior. This thing still is a really fun vehicle, now with the option of all-wheel drive, more space, and just a lot more fun to really compete in this really hot and popular subcompact SUV segment. So let's go dive in. I'm going to show you guys all of the fun features of the Kicks once again, though this time now living with it over the course of the week. So we'll see if there's some more things that I like and some more things that I dislike about this Kicks that I wasn't able to experience last year in person in a closed setting with Nissan. But let's go dive in. Now, if you're coming from an old Nissan Kicks, this is one area where you're really going to be happy with this all-new Kicks, is under the hood. And now we have a much more powerful engine and powertrain system for you, as we now have a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine under the hood, and it's making 141 horsepower and around 140 pound-feet of torque. Now, this engine is obviously paired to a Xtronic CVT, though this is the newer generation Xtronic CVT, I believe, that I tested over in the all-new updated Nissan Sentra, and that one actually has a little bit more responsiveness on your throttle, so it feels a little bit more quicker. It shifts almost like a normal transmission. It has like those implemented shift feeling for a CVT, and of course it's going to also aim to give you better fuel economy. And even with this new all-wheel drive option that you can get on any of the 3 Kicks grades, I've still been seeing really impressive fuel economy numbers over the course of this week, regularly getting over 30 mpg and even 35 mpg in some scenarios. So this new Kicks has been really impressing in terms of its fuel economy, and this engine and CVT, even though it has a little bit around 141 horsepower, which definitely is not the most powerful for a standard vehicle in this class, it doesn't feel that slow actually. It's really peppy off the line actually, and overall, I think it's just a fine engine for this vehicle, just around average, I would say, for this class. Would I like to see a hybrid or a turbocharged option? Yes, but we can't have everything we always want. So I think Nissan did a good job with this updated Kicks. Very appropriate powertrain for this vehicle. Now, when we first saw the Kicks last year in New York, that was the first time I've ever seen that vehicle in person, and it was in person, which was really cool of an experience. And I was blown away by the all-new styling and proportions of this new Kicks. It is larger in every single dimension than the previous one. It's almost like stepped up a class. It's gotten so much bigger, and we have a lot of the same fun, cool paint options. This is this optional Scarlet Red Tintcoat paint, which is actually a really nice paint color. Even here in the sun and the dark, it has a really nice metallic flake to it. You have plenty of 2-tone paint options with a black roof and a lot of other fun, really loud, poppy colors, which makes the Kicks really characterful. Also, this new design is still really characterful for this vehicle, and I like this new design still, even over the course of this past year that I've seen this vehicle. Really cool, new, bold grille design Nissan's done with these really horizontal slats over here. I really like their new headlight design here. These really remind me of the Murano's actually headlights, though I really like this design they've done with the LEDs that are cascading into the grille over here. And I think they did an appropriate job with the black plastic around the bumper and blending it with the paint finish. This one does have 360 parking sensors and a really nice 360 camera as well in this SR trim, which is the top trim of the Kicks. So I really like this front end. It's boxier, it's bolder. I think it's a really nice, fresh take on a design for Nissan. So they did a good job on this front. Now, coming over to the side of the Kicks over here, we do have the 19-inch wheel option here on the SR trim. Larger wheel, very big spokes. It's like this gigantic 3-spoke design that we have a lot of different blended looks over here, which is kind of cool looking. There's an optional wheel you can also get, which looks way too sporty for a Kicks, but I hope someone gets it because I'd love to see it out on the road. And also for the S trim, as well as the mid-tier SV trim, you're going to get different wheel designs. I think these wheels are okay looking, definitely fun and really fit the Kicks' personality, though I have to say, on the road, they are incredibly, they feel stiff. They just feel stiff compared with this tire option here at very high PSI. It feels like on the tires, I think it's almost around 40 PSI right now. This is how it was given to me, of course. And I think this combination of the Kicks isn't the best. I think I would want to go with the smaller wheel options because I think it pairs with the suspension just a little bit better. I've noticed a lot of crashing and harder sounds and vibrations coming into the cabin this week, and from what I've read online from some newer Kicks owners, the smaller wheels may be a choice for you, but that's really all depending on your lifestyle. Now, coming around to the rear and the side profile of the Kicks, it also really exudes that fun, sporty character of it. Again, you can see that bigger, larger, a little bit more boxy design, but we have these really nice flared out fenders over here. I think a tasteful design Nissan did with this kind of floating roof pillar. I think this actually looks quite good on the Kicks. I think it's a really nice looking vehicle, and I think this paint job really does help to make it stand out even more. Of course, the two-tone paint finishes might be even a bolder statement. But back here, I really like these taillight designs here. This is a combination taillights. We have LED slash kind of incandescence in here, but this accent lighting really is nice and mimics the grille design up front, so I like how they carried that design throughout the whole body of the Kicks, with a really nice tiny Nissan badge over here within this gunmetal style finish, which is actually quite nice, a part of this black bar over here, which blends well actually I think with this lower bumper design, even though it is plastic. Again, we have parking sensors on this particular SR one, body painted lower bumper over here, and a single exhaust outlet over there. This is a fun lifestyle vehicle, and they have made sure of that in their accessories. There are so many options. This one even has illuminated underglow, as well as a Nissan logo projecting under the ground, which is really, really fun. Now, coming around to the trunk of the Nissan Kicks, there's no powered options whatsoever. So it's a full manual trunk. Thankfully, of course, we have the gas struts and a little bit of a hand placement here so you can help close it easier, but it is a full manual option. If you want a powered trunk, you're gonna have to step up to a Nissan Rogue. Now, how is the cargo space in this Nissan Kicks? Well, it's a little bit interesting. So depending on what drivetrain you get, if you get front wheel drive or all wheel drive, you're gonna actually have a different amount of cargo space back here. So front wheel drive Kickses are gonna get 29 cubic feet behind this second row. All wheel drive Kickses are getting 24 cubic feet. Why? When you have all wheel drive, you have to have that rear differential back there, and because of that, it's actually gonna eat into your cargo space just a little bit. And that actually makes a little bit of a larger difference when you have that second row folded down. And the front wheel drive Kicks, you get around 59 cubic feet with the second row folded down. With the all wheel drive, it's around 50 cubic feet. So a little bit of a difference there with your cargo stuff. Though back here, you can opt for a cargo cover and a few other different cargo accessories, though this one we just have a very lower priced feeling felt floor liner over here. It doesn't feel particularly nice, though it does say Kicks on it. I would like to see an all-wheel or all-weather mat back here would be nicer. We do have the optional spare back here, so that is also taking up some additional cargo space in this Kicks. There's some illumination back here, but I think it's an okay amount of space. You could definitely fit like one big suitcase, maybe a carry-on on top of that, but not too much. And we do see the seats do fold down, which you do have to do from the front area over there. There's no release back here in the trunk. So let's go have a look on the interior of the Kicks to see how it is in the rear seats. Opening up the door over here now, we can see we have this really nice charcoal interior with this sport cloth. Now on the door panels, obviously in this class, this is pretty much what we're going to see in all these vehicles. A little bit more of a cheaper, harder plastics on the doors. We do have this kind of faux carbon fiber-esque soft touch material with real stitching actually, which is kind of nice. Cup holder over here, and we have a speaker as part of this upgraded 10-speaker Bose Personal Plus audio system, which is kind of nice. On the seats, you can see this charcoal leatherette with, again, real contrast stitching and this sport cloth textile material, which is nice. We've seen this on pretty much a lot of vehicles in this class, so it's nothing too new. Nice contrast stitching all throughout these seats, though, for this particular SR trim. We do have a cup holders and armrest in the center console area over here, and this one does not have the all-weather floor mats, which I think would be nice for winter scenarios, but let's go hop inside and see how space is. Getting inside the Kicks, let's close up the door. Pretty solid thunk. Sounds a little bit hollow, though. Obviously, again, a lower cost vehicle for this class. And you can see we have a decent amount of leg space actually behind my driving position as a 6-foot-tall driver. Not too bad. A lot of foot room as well, which is also really useful. And again, knee room's pretty good. We do have a storage cubby on the back of this front seat. And you can see this one has the optional interior technology package, which gets you ambient lighting under the seats, which is pretty nice, and you can change the color, which is cool. A lot of leg room as well, I think, overall. Very low hump in the floor, but this carpet, oh wow, that just feels like cardboard and a little bit cheaper felt material. I'd like to see that covered maybe with an all-weather format. Though we do have 2 USB-C ports back here. No air vents at all for the rear passengers. Thankfully, though, the seats are actually quite comfortable. These are Nissan's zero-gravity designed seats, so they have really great thigh support. They have a great sculpture to them as well, good curvature, and they have a nice angle for the backrest as well. So they're actually quite comfortable for rear passengers. They're not reclining or anything, but I think it's a pretty nice seat for the rear passengers. I think overall room back here is quite good, very comparable to something like a Subaru Crosstrek, I would say. So not too bad. And we also have this very large panoramic glass roof that can open up over here. And this one does have these nice illuminated panoramic roof lights up here, which are pretty nice. But again, kind of cheaper materials for this headliner as well. But again, pretty much what we're going to see in a lot of vehicles in this class. But let's go hop up to what's not a normal thing in this class, a very high-tech front cabin. Okay, guys, let's go take a look at the front interior of the Kicks now. On our key fob as well, pretty nice key fob for the Kicks. We do have remote start, which is a nice option, though no trunk release button, as again, this trunk is fully manual. And hopping up front, we do actually have keyless access on this particular Kicks SR, and you can actually lock and unlock without even touching it. That's an option you can select in there. We also have these nice mirrors with blind spot in them, which is quite nice, but no power folding whatsoever. Unlock a Kicks, we can press that button right there, and which gets us a nice look into the interior of this really fun and awesome cabin, I think. Up front here, we're getting nicer materials on the door up here, so it's a softer touch material with this contrast stitching. And blending over down here, we can see we have a spaces for some optional illuminated side sills, which is a cool touch, though we don't have that on this particular Kicks. But we do have those, these upgraded floor mats with this kind of soft pad over here that you can get all-weather floor mats. You even see our light for our interior illumination and our control for that, which looks a little interesting. I wish that was integrated into the software somewhat, but these seats are quite nice. These are the zero-gravity Nissan seats as well, like I mentioned. I like the blend of this kind of leatherette material as well as the sport cloth. Lots of nice fun designs on here. Even on the headrest, you can see we have our Bose Personal Plus surround speakers built into each headrest, which is a really cool feature. It actually sounds really, really nice. Pretty nice audio system for this vehicle. So let's hop inside. And one more thing to point out is you cannot get power seats on the Kicks whatsoever. Even in this fully loaded SR trim, we only have adjustment here for up and down, our back recline rest, and our lower control over there. So no power seats, but you know, I wish there was a nice option you could have on this Kicks. And check out the Kicks panel right on the side. Closing up the door. And here we are inside of the all-new Nissan Kicks. So to start up your all-new Nissan Kicks, you have your start-stop button located right down here. Let's press that. Comes to life pretty quickly. We have a nice animation here on our dual 12.3-inch instrument cluster and infotainment system over there, which is really, really nice. And yeah, this is a pretty nice interior for the class of this vehicle here. A lot of these vehicles still have manual clusters and a really fun dash design. We can see all that real stitching even carries over onto the dash. We have a blend of materials over here. This is all soft touch across the whole dash. This is all soft touch as well up here. And we actually have an ambient lighting strip throughout the entirety of the dash onto the doors as well, and color ambient lighting in our cup holder area over here, which is really cool, and in our footwells, and that's controllable via this little button over here. So this is actually a very fun interior. I love this new steering wheel design, very simple and clean. We can see we have orange contrast stitching as well, which is really nice. Very simple and easy to use controls on here for our Pro Pilot Assist system. So this has full steering assist, which is really nice, a heated steering wheel as well, and radar adaptive cruise control. So this is a pretty good system. No paddle shifters at all for an SR trim, and also no way to actually manually shift any of the faux gears in this continuously variable transmission whatsoever. So if you're looking for that, the Kicks will not offer it at all. Though we do have manual adjustment on the steering wheel. I think it's a very thin spoke, but I think it's perfectly fine for this size of vehicle. We do have automatic headlights and automatic high beams, which is a nice touch, as well as we have wiper controls over here, which is also quite nice. Easy control for dimming our information cluster up here, which is also pretty nice. And I think it's a very user-friendly interior. We have a separate control panel down here for our climate system, so you can turn on our heated seats, which is quite nice, and as well as adjust your climate control systems, which is pretty easy back here. And you also have a larger display built into your infotainment system over here for your climate controls. So you can see we have this really cool display here that can give you even more information, but thankfully they separated that stuff out just a little bit so it's not too overwhelming in your information cluster up there. Also down here, very nice, cool, fun design. We have a nice padded side panel over here with this kind of contrast stitching. No storage down here whatsoever, but some harder plastics. Thankfully, this is padded. We have some nice trim over here, auto brake hold, our electronic parking brake, and a pretty big wireless charger mount, which hasn't always worked for my phone too much this week, but when you do get it in the right spot, it works fine. 2 USB-C ports, which is a nice touch. And we have a drive mode select over here. So we actually have a few drive modes in this Kick. So we have Eco, Sport, Standard, and since we have all-wheel drive, we got the snow mode as well, which is a nice touch. I like this orange accent around our shifter. It's still also a pretty nice design shifter, nothing too complicated as well, which is really nice for this vehicle. It has a nice feel to it as well, a nice contrast stitching. Cup holders, like I mentioned, are pretty big, and they are illuminated in this particular one, really deep as well. The only issue I have with the center console is there is no storage space in here. You have your cup holders, and that's it. Unless you use your wireless charger as a storage space, there really isn't a lot of storage, because this little center armrest here, not only is it small and non-adjustable, it is insanely tiny. I can barely fit my sunglasses in here. It's that small, actually, which is probably why they have a sunglass holder up here. But this is just a really, really small space. I'm really surprised they didn't try to increase this whatsoever. There's a tiny little piece of felt in there. Yeah, it's really, really small. So hopefully they can figure out a way to kind of increase your cargo space in here, because this is quite tiny. We do have a glove box, which is not lockable, but thankfully that is actually quite decently sized. But I don't want to always have to have stuff stuffed in my glove box. Otherwise, you know, it's a pretty nice interior. They prioritize more of the passenger and driver space, clearly over cargo space, but it is what it is. Thankfully, this one does have the optional home link connected and auto dimming rear mirror, which is quite nice. We also have a physical controls for our volume knob, as well as this really fantastic 360 camera system, very clear cameras, and you can cycle through a whole bunch of different views as well. It's actually quite nice to have on this Kicks. And with the parking sensors, they will automatically pop up when you come up to something really close, which is quite nice. I have to say, this is one of the nicer versions of this newer Nissan infotainment system that I've used. Really easy to use. It's closer to you than something like the Murano or like an Aria, and I think it's just a very nice, simple system. Obviously, wireless CarPlay and Android Auto you have on this particular one, which is quite nice. We saw our climate control screen over here, which is actually quite nice for an entry-level vehicle. We have a dedicated music control area for Bluetooth, Sirius XM, AM, FM, as well as a notification panel, because this is kind of like an Android-backed software. And you have all of these customizable tiles throughout this infotainment system you can use, which is quite nice. Though if you want navigation, you're going to have to sign into your phone system over there. That's going to give you your navigation access through Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So it's a little bit more of a basic system in that sense. And there are some settings to kind of play around with in here, from your camera settings as well. You can even control things like your sound system, which is really cool, because we have this Bose Personal Plus system, so you can adjust that level of surround sound with these headrest mounted speakers. And I have to say, it actually is a really fun system for this car. I really haven't experienced anything like this in something like this in this class of vehicle. So I'm glad Nissan put that on there. We also have a pretty configurable digital cluster here. This is very familiar to every new Nissan product. We can have it in this layout in the Kicks, or we can put it into this more modern, sleek layout, which gets you this kind of gauge cluster over there. So you can still have classic looking gauges if you do want, though you can also have these more modern looking gauges. And it's very, very quick, responsive. This is one of the quickest Nissan ones I've actually experienced. We have our Pro Pilot system here. We also have our music control, tire pressure, 4x4 information, so it's pretty much an all-wheel drive whenever it needs to be, front-wheel drive most of the time, drive computer, and this digital cluster here. And all that is the same actually with this, so it just cycles through in the center versus the whole screen. So pretty nice system, actually, easy to use. It's one of the quickest ones, and I think they have a good non-glary screen design for this, so Nissan integrated this pretty well. Just if you're used to sitting higher, the gauge might be a little bit too low for you. You're kind of setting up high in this vehicle. This is actually my eye level here, so you kind of have to look down on everything. But, you know, this is a small little SUV. This driving position is expected. And like I mentioned, we have our controls up here for our massive panoramic roof, which is really nice for this class. One of the biggest, I would have to say. And up here, we have those illuminated lights actually at night, which look awesome. It looks like you're in like a Dreamliner airline or something like that. But yeah, this is the all-new Kicks interior. Is it a massive improvement over the other one? Yes. Is it one of the best in class? In terms of technology and features we're getting, it is definitely high up there. Really fun, playful interior. I love the ambient lighting options and all of the customizable ways you can get this interior. Is it the best built? I'm not too sure. Some of the materials feel a little bit cheaper and older end for me. The center console area is a little bit too loose wiggling for me as well, but I haven't really experienced any creaks or rattles, which is a good sign. And I think overall this is going to hold up over time pretty well. It's pretty rugged, I would say, in that sense, even though the material quality isn't as high. Nissan build's pretty solid. You know, and driving around this all-new Nissan Kicks this week, it's been a really fun experience. This car has actually been really, really surprising. This particular one, yes, it comes with a lot of bells and whistles, but I like it. It's been fun. It's a really solid car in the sense that it's a non-frustration inducing driving experience. I think is the best way to kind of just put the Kicks. It doesn't really make you angry in the sense that everything's just easy to use. The transmission's smooth, compliant, doesn't really have any issues. The steering, you know, isn't incredible in terms of feel. It's a little bit of a rubber banding style feel to it, but it just works well. It's a very neutral, calm driving experience to the overall car, and I think that's a really, really great aspect about this all new Nissan Kicks. The one thing I will complain about with the Kicks though is it's a little bit on the stiffer side of its driving experience. Going over bumps on the highway, on even side roads as well, it's definitely a stiff. I wasn't expecting that actually. Some other competitors definitely are going to offer you a smoother ride. You can also feel a lot of like those bumps and vibrations reverberating through the cabin just a little bit. Though generally it is quite a quiet vehicle. On the highway it can be a little bit louder. Obviously it's, you know, an entry-level economy vehicle, so they've done as much sound deadening as they could to keep it an affordable price point, but overall pretty good. It's a very just neutral, well-rounded driving experience. It doesn't feel heavily front bias, it doesn't feel heavily front-wheel drive, and the all-wheel drive system on this Kicks, as you can see, it snowed. We were able to test it out in the snow. Shocked me. It's incredibly good, even in the thicket of a borderline full snowstorm we had here. It did a fantastic job, and on these tires with this all-wheel drive system, it's always working. This all-wheel drive system, it prioritizes front-wheel drive in certain drive modes. Lock it into snow mode, for example, though, and you'll have almost a near 50-40 or a 60-40 or 50-50 kind of torque split to help you get around in some stickier situations. So overall, this is a really impressive vehicle, and it's all able to do this while getting over 30 mpg on the highway. And you know, in some cases this week I've been able to see 40 mpg. Really impressive stuff here. The one interesting thing about this all-wheel drive one is that you don't get auto stop start, which I guess is a good thing for some people that really don't like auto stop start. But you know, if you do go for the front wheel drive Kicks, you will have, I think, a auto stop start button right there for you. It's very interesting that they chose to not have this on here. I'm not too sure why. Drive modes, we have Sport, Standard, Eco, and a Snow mode as well. Sport doesn't really do too much, kind of just changes the accelerator and CVT tuning a little bit. Definitely feels like it's giving you more revs accessible throughout the throttle range, but that's not too bad. There is a test right there of said CVT, this new CVT. Shifts. It doesn't sound like a CVT at all. I think they did a really great job on that. So if you're afraid of this vehicle in terms of this all new next generation CVT, let me just tell you, they put a huge emphasis on reliability as well on this. And there's a really cool, interesting video I did on that kind of dives into the almost like documentary style talk that the engineers had about the CVT. Okay guys, so we're gonna go head out onto the highway now. I guess this could be a nice quick test. Do note we do lack paddle shifters though on the Kicks, even in this SR variant. Quick acceleration here. Okay, not bad. We were already at speed, but it got up to around 65 miles an hour, pretty good, right around the speed limit over here, and I think it does a good job at it. Now out here on the highway, you're definitely gonna know it's a little bit louder on here. You know, this is an entry-level vehicle at the end of the day, so and it's also an insanely windy day today, so that might not be helping its case. But there's a lot of road noise coming in. That's one thing the wind is not going to be able to just mask. So that's just the characteristics of these entry-level vehicles. So I will say, I think they did a good job in terms of wind buffeting over on these corner areas over here. It doesn't really sound that loud at all. I don't really hear any wind buffeting from the side mirrors as well, so I think those are well designed. Same thing with this upper panel over here near the sunroof. I don't really hear any wind buffeting, so I think they did a great job at just general sound insulation. Another wonderful feature we have here is Nissan's Pilot Assist adaptive cruise control function here. So all I have to do is press this blue button, set my speed, and voila, we are off in a Pro Pilot Assist mode. Now, you do have to keep your hands on the wheel at all times, but this is a really good system actually. I've tested it in plenty of Nissan products recently, including the new Murano as well, and it works just as good here. It's not the most advanced system Nissan offers. There is a hands-free style system in the Aria, but you know, that's still kind of locked to the more expensive models here. We do have a steering assist button over here we can activate activate and deactivate if you don't want that steering assist function. So all it does is fully steer you within the lanes that you're in. Obviously, it's not a hands-off system, so you do have to keep your hands on the wheel, and Nissan will definitely alert you if you take your hands off the wheel for just a few seconds. I'll show you what happens right here. Warning, and they'll start beeping if you continue to keep your hands off the wheel there. You can easily adjust your following distance on the steering wheel as well as your speed, and like I mentioned, you can disable that steering assist by the touch of this little steering button over here if equipped on your Kicks. But it's a pretty good system. It doesn't have obviously any of the crazy features like automatic lane change assist, which I did experience on the Nissan Ariya. Alright guys, coming off the highway here, you know, wrapping up my week with the Kicks. It's been good. It's been really good. I was really excited to drive this thing from when I was able to experience firsthand in a static position last year, right before the New York Auto Show. So this is really great to get a hands-on experience with the Kicks now, as it is now in the hands of customers. So I really hope if you're interested in a vehicle in this segment, do not look over the Kicks anymore. It is a totally different vehicle than it once was. This is a fantastic Rogue Sport replacement, I would have to say. It's just an overall fantastic Kicks replacement from the previous generation Nissan Kicks. So this is a good vehicle. Really, really impressed Nissan. I hope this does well for you guys. And if you are looking for a competitor to something like a Honda HR-V or a Mazda CX-30 or a Corolla Cross or any of those other vehicles in that segment, this is a great new offering, I would say, from Nissan. And is it the most dynamic? No, that's going to go over to a CX-30. Is it the most comfortable? No, I think the Subaru Crosstrek is actually quite comfortable, or a CX-30 in that sense. Is it the most efficient? You can get a hybrid version of some of the competitors, but I think it does everything really well. Lots of technology, really attractive price point, and it's just a frustration-free driving experience. So great job, Nissan. Really liking this all-new 2025 Kicks, and as always, thank you guys for watching this review, and stay tuned for more coming on Allcarnews. Cheers.